Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Tekina, which means to connect. My name is Duane Eagle, Managing Director of Eagle Technology. On behalf of all the team at Eagle, I would like to offer a very warm welcome to the 2024 New Zealand Esri User Conference. Esri User Conference. I'm particularly excited to be here in Wellington, as it has been 14 years since we've been here last. So really excited about this awesome event here. We want to acknowledge that along with all New Zealanders and a lot of companies here, some people are struggling out there a bit, and we want to make sure that we can support you in any way we can. Here at the conference, please just come and talk to us. We also want you to know that we particularly appreciate you as individuals making the effort to join us here, as well as your organisations supporting you to be here, to connect, learn and share. For this conference, our team has been working to put together 3 days of wonderful content. This includes the latest technology and stories from very important communities and many sub-communities. Many of you will also have attended our GIS Emergency Management Summit over the past 2 days, and it was great to see such support for this particularly important area. Whatever discipline or area that you work in and are focused upon, I want to personally encourage all of you to make the most of this time we have to learn together, connect, share, and celebrate our collective work and achievements that you have all been involved with. I want to also remind you that tomorrow night is our dinner, our conference dinner. Please dress up, as if you don't, you will be the only one that doesn't. Everybody dresses up, and it's a really fun evening, so we're really looking forward to that. I want to acknowledge the ongoing and valuable support of the New Zealand User Group, an organisation who has been part of this event for the past 20 years. Alongside our own Eagle team, we are very lucky to have a number of special guests joining us at this year's conference. This includes a great team from Esri, and you'll be hearing from some of them this afternoon and tomorrow morning. I'd like to let you know who they are. It's Philip Heede, who's the Group Product Manager for ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise. Kathleen Kewley, AEC Lead for Esri Global Business Development, and Peter Hawkins, General Manager for Esri Asia Pacific. Finally, it is my great pleasure to pass across to another member of the Esri team, someone who I'm sure that you will all know, and who has a short message for you, Esri's founder and president, Jack Dangermond. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jack Dangermond, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to Eagle's wonderful user conference here in Wellington. It's been now 14 years since I was in Wellington and actually at the last users meeting. A lot has changed both in New Zealand and in the world. And it's wonderful to have everybody back here sharing and learning. And that is actually the purpose of these meetings, for us to learn from each other, share some of the technology breakthroughs that we've been making, but more importantly, how this technology is supporting a whole new generation of apps, how it's addressing challenges in various organizations and types of institutions, and also how it's addressing some of the big challenges that we're facing, both at national level and international levels. So it's, again, my pleasure. I wish I was there with you, but it's my pleasure to welcome you here. You know, I'd like to say that a lot of the work that Esri and Eagle are going to be presenting in the next couple of days are just technology. But it's not just technology. It's also the value systems behind them, the stories that really constitute your ways inside of organizations to make a difference. And at glancing at the billions of maps now that are being made almost every day on the planet, I have a few sort of thoughts that I'd like to share with you. The work of GIS professionals implementing geographic thinking and geographic approaches in the world is impactful, and it's also creating a kind of new language of collaboration, a new language of understanding. You know, maps are stories that help us understand often complexity, and they sort of give instant meaning to how we see the world, see changes, see advances, see issues, see risks. All of this information that you as a group are collectively creating and sharing, I think is impacting how we see and plan our future world. And while there's major challenges that are occurring with climate change and other issues of loss of biodiversity, at the very same time, it's you as GIS professionals who are providing a more positive, insightful, science-based language to the world to understand what's going on. You know, maps are one of my favorite things in life, and I often think about why. Well, they express in very simple terms what's going on. They abstract and communicate complexity and the interrelationships of things. These are powerful communication bits that I think matter in all aspects of our living world. As we look at the technology and what we're doing here, it's of course better visualization, more 3D, better analytics, better ways to manage data. But particularly what I'm seeing is the emergence of GIS as a fundamental enterprise architecture and also as a fundamental infrastructure for organizations to interconnect, to share and collaborate, a kind of platform for collaboration. And your work is the evidence of that. As you watch the different presentations, not only here but across the whole South Pacific region and beyond, what you'll be struck with is how people are beginning to learn how to collaborate and come up with holistic solutions together. I just like that notion very much. And I want to emphasize to you that we understand both at Eagle and also in Esri who we support. We appreciate not only your work and the amazing work that you are doing, but also we appreciate being your, well, we appreciate you as business partners, I suppose, partnering in the evolution of this technology and this science to make a better world. I like the theme of this conference, uniting our country or uniting our region. This is a beautiful theme because it is all about bringing together understanding and then having a platform to be able to create a better future. So I'll stop there and simply say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity that you've given us. And I really wish I could be there enjoying the collaboration and seeing the great work that you are doing in the region. Thank you.
And I'd also like to thank Jack. We seriously appreciate him too. Now it's time for me to introduce you to Scott Campbell, who's the chief of our technical solutions team at Eagle. He's going to take you throughout the day. Please enjoy the show. Have a great conference, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, Duane. It's really great to be here, and we were very excited to have so many of you joining us here today in this amazing venue. As Duane said, Takina means many things, but it also means to connect. And as you heard from Duane and Jack, that's a key purpose of this event over the next 3 days. So to begin with, I want to acknowledge the most important people in the room. That's you. You're a key part of a global GIS community and represent many different backgrounds, different career stages, different disciplines, and also different interests. And I think this diversity makes us a strong and interesting community. Geographically, you're also quite diverse, representing several different countries in this room and also from across New Zealand. You represent many different organizations and industries. And as we said, we really appreciate you coming to join us in this event today. Many of you in this room are GIS professionals and are using technology to make a significant impact. As you heard from Jack, the work you do is more important now than ever. The good news is that our community is growing, and this is illustrated in the map you can see here, which shows all of your fellow users from around the planet. Already, you have a huge role in the future collectively we share, integrating geography and maps into our organizations and allowing greater understanding and, in turn, the most important part, action. But we believe that your work is increasingly important. So we want to take a few moments right up front to share some of the work that you're doing across our region. In the area of biosecurity, there's lots of amazing work being done with GIS to keep our flora and fauna safe. Whether that's in the space of pest monitoring, working with schools to raise awareness and actually catch the pests, using dashboards in Naitahu in the South Island, or the conservation data being shown in that cool dashboard in the bottom right from Ethos Environmental, about whom you'll hear more in tomorrow's business plenary. Climate and natural hazard modelling is a key focus for many of you, and geography is a great way to understand both the impact of climate change and the mitigation techniques that we have at our disposal. Whether it's looking at wind and flood modelling from CLIM systems, or looking at the extent of wildfire risk in forests. Also, there's risks that lie beneath us in terms of understanding the impact and visualizing the very, very threatening alpine fault. Government, both central and local, are strong users of GIS to carry out their own missions. In examples we have here, we can see the amazing PGF-funded LiDAR for the Canterbury region, which is a great collaboration between central and local government, bringing together a really valuable asset, which you will see in many of the demonstrations that follow this afternoon. Auckland Council do make great use of imagery, both current and historical, to understand the changing patterns of their ever-growing city. And Greater Wellington Regional Council, our local council in this event today, are doing a great job of using GIS to share information in a variety of forms, both publicly and internally. Over the last 2 days, as you heard, there's been an emergency management summit happening in this event. And that's a recognition of the fact that many of you are using GIS in this very important endeavour. So whether that's using the Land Information New Zealand imagery collection to bring the latest imagery to the fore in the case of an emergency, or whether it's REMO, Wellington Regional Emergency Management Organisation, collaborating with other stakeholders in the region through maps to share data in times of emergency. Maps are an amazing way to engage, as we all know, and Greater Wellington, again, are using their map viewers to engage with the public on a range of different topics, including story maps, where they're sharing information about their 10 and 30-year transport plans for the region. Using GIS to manage our critical infrastructure and assets is also a key piece of work for many organizations. Those assets come in many different forms, whether it's Kiwi Rail, keeping our national rail network intact, or City Care working with Christchurch, in this case to understand the state of our assets and roading in the Christchurch area. And the other example on the top right, where PowerCo are using maps to understand the potential future load on their current network. The geographic approach is applied to all of these examples. We've had a lot of interest in forestry this year, with these 3 examples standing out. One with 141 in Nelson, looking at a CRM or a contact database through their maps so they understand land ownership for the neighbours and the land that they manage. And then we've got GeoMaster, which is a really popular tool for forest industry, which is geo-enabled. And that's been unveiled as the latest version, including the JavaScript Maps SDK, to give a really intuitive and geo-enabled interface for those managing forests. And finally, the example on the bottom is Scion, based in Rotorua, who've created a digital twin of their forest. We'll hear that digital twin term again throughout the afternoon. Uniting our world, as Jack said, is the conference theme. And while this may seem like a very grand vision, I'd like to suggest that just like maps, this can work at any scale. So whether this runs in the idea of applying to collaborate between groups and cooperating at a regional, national, or district level. We believe that location or geography can sometimes be seen as a secret power or need a secret weapon to connect these groups, which is important when we look at our group, or look at our work and the challenges that we are collectively looking to address. We hear often that our world is changing rapidly. This has many positives and is largely driven by humans and their many endeavours. But this progress has come at significant cost, and increasing parts of the planet are dealing with serious and unintended consequences. Sometimes when we hear of these consequences, of these terrible news stories and predictions, it can seem overwhelming. And I don't want to suggest that we have all the answers here at this conference today, or even entirely within our amazing global community of GIS professionals, of course. But I do think that this global community does have a key role to play. Overcoming these challenges will require many things which geography can bring to the table. Shared understanding, collaboration around our actions, the combination of data, ideas, science, and technology. A lot of this comes back to uniting, as we heard, uniting around the underlying power of geography, where we can connect these aspects using shared locations and arguably our most potent tool, maps. Maps are truly the language of geography, communicating content and context, providing clarity and valuable insights for all who see them, making the complexity of our world much more understandable. These maps reveal patterns, relationships, and systems. They help us to think differently. These maps, as a nice byproduct, are often elegant and beautiful pieces of art. GIS takes these maps and expands them with technology, providing the ability to make millions of maps available to billions of people, and ultimately, we hope, expand this geographic understanding and this geographic approach. You, as GIS professionals, have an enormous role to play in the future of our planet. Your work is part of something much larger, influencing and creating a future. You and the work that you do are key to creating a sustainable future. With that context, we want to change tack a little and look in some detail at the specifics of the technology which our community uses to do this work. To tell us about the latest capabilities within ArcGIS, we're very excited to welcome to our stage Philip Heede. Philip, as you heard, is the Group Product Manager at Esri, responsible for two small products, ArcGIS Online and another one called ArcGIS Enterprise. Philip's been at Esri for 18 years, and this is his third time in New Zealand and the second time in Wellington. Please join me in welcoming Philip to the stage.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you, Scott. And thank you for keep inviting me back. I must be doing something right. What I want to do now this afternoon is talk about the work we've been doing at Esri. Our focus is on creating technology that helps you be successful in your work. And we do this with ArcGIS products, education, and support. Those products themselves are built on a series of foundational principles and deliver a wide variety of capabilities that I want to start with. ArcGIS is, by design, a comprehensive geospatial platform. It's designed to build systems and solutions. It has foundational products, ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Enterprise, and ArcGIS Online, and delivers many capabilities like imagery, 3D, analytics, and of course, mapping and data management. It's available as software and SaaS, and increasingly PaaS. ArcGIS is designed to support everyone, from GIS and IT professionals to knowledge and mobile workers and executives, as well as the public. In other words, ArcGIS is designed for individuals, organizations, and entire communities. ArcGIS includes many web and mobile apps supporting all types of users. You're using them to enhance your work with functionality and to provide an exceptional user experience for interacting with maps and data. ArcGIS includes massive amounts of content available in the Living Atlas, which has thousands of curated layers and millions of pieces of user-shared content. Over 70 million data sets and maps have been shared for you to use, and it keeps expanding rapidly. Some of the improvements we've made this year in the Living Atlas include 3D base maps based on OSM data, which has then been enhanced with additional commercial data. Here in New Zealand, and the South Pacific, there's close to 150 unique local data sets and items, covering everything from base maps to lens data, locally optimized deep learning models, and much more. ArcGIS integrates many types of data, like tabular, vector, image, CAD, real-time, voxels, textured meshes. It abstracts this data into maps and layers and 3D scenes and makes them available and usable across the system. And like we heard from Jack already this morning, ArcGIS integrates with many enterprise systems like IBM, Salesforce, Adobe, AWS, SAP, and more. We do this for interoperability, but also to geo-enable business workflows and integrate geographic thinking everywhere. One concrete example of integration is with Microsoft, which you'll see demonstrated later this afternoon, as well as Autodesk, which you'll hear Kathleen talk more about in just a little bit. ArcGIS, by design, is also that enterprise platform, which means it needs to be and is scalable, reliable, interoperable, and secure. It's a well-architected platform supporting mission-critical applications and many different implementation patterns to meet the needs of any organization. And ArcGIS keeps advancing. With more than 2,000 Esri staff around the globe working on many dozens of different product teams, we continue to evolve the capabilities of ArcGIS and improve quality and performance while integrating new innovations across the entire portfolio. Now, I want to highlight just a couple of the great advancements we've made here in the past year. Let's start with artificial intelligence, AI. Like most technology companies, Esri is advancing ArcGIS with artificial intelligence. And our plan is to do this in two ways. The first is geo-AI, which is something we've been doing for several years now with machine learning and deep learning techniques to advance spatial analysis and to automate tasks that once required extensive manual efforts, such as feature extraction and object detection. The other newer way we're working to integrate AI is via AI assistants. Here we're leveraging large language models so that you can talk to the software, ask questions in any language, and get answers. But we also want to add assistance for you in your work with mapping, analysis, and navigating the GIS applications you use every day. At the foundation of any GIS is mapping and cartography. And ArcGIS Pro continues to have a comprehensive set of tools for all types of mapping. This year, we've added the ability to create thematic map series and several other highly requested features, like support for hyperlinks and improving how heat maps work. This is in addition to many other productivity improvements that we continue to make with every single release. Web mapping is focused on smart, data-driven applications and with visualizations. All the various web applications are powered by ArcGIS Enterprise and ArcGIS Online. And this year, we've made enhancements to the map viewer that forms the core of the web mapping experience in both Enterprise and Online to provide powerful editing, analysis, and visualization tools. We've added new sketching tools to add features to a map, support for related records in the map viewer, another highly requested item, and there's many other new enhancements for interacting with maps, graphs, and charts. Beyond mapping, you also use ArcGIS as an analytics platform because of its powerful spatial analysis and data science capabilities. We now have more than 2,000 geoprocessing tools, models, and functions to help solve all types of problems. The product teams have done a lot of work on data engineering to help you prepare data for analysis and then massage or transform that data. We're also advancing spatial statistics with machine learning. So now GIS professionals and data scientists are accessing these capabilities through the many Esri applications, but also via programmatic and scripting means, such as Python, notebooks, and Model Builder. Geospatial knowledge graphs is a part of our spatial analysis strategy and was something you heard a lot about at this conference last year. Up until now, this has been available in ArcGIS Pro, but recently we introduced Knowledge Studio, a new web application as part of ArcGIS Enterprise, so that anyone with a browser can begin to query knowledge graphs and pull out information. A dimension of analytics is also dealing with big data. And here we're talking about hundreds of millions, billions, or even trillions of records. ArcGIS GeoAnalytics Engine is designed to enhance big data workflows by delivering advanced spatial capabilities directly into your cloud analytics environment. In this form, big data libraries are put into cloud data warehouses or data lakes. And we provide more than 180 different spatial functions and tools that you can run in your own Spark environment to bring these data libraries directly next to your data and get great performance. We're proud that this same engine and many of the geoanalytics capabilities for big data analysis have been chosen by Microsoft to be directly integrated into Microsoft Fabric. It's truly a testament to the value and the power of this functionality. Many of you also deploy ArcGIS for imagery and remote sensing work. And ArcGIS is a complete system for image management, of course, but also for image and raster analysis and visualization, and increasingly reality mapping. ArcGIS supports all types of imagery from different sensors in different formats. This year, we added support for a few new and different formats. The first is the Spatial Temporal Asset Catalog, or STAC, which is very popular, and you'll see a demo of that here in just a short while. We've also added support for oriented imagery, 3D satellite mapping, and geospatial video. Reality mapping is part of the imagery system that I just described. This is about taking lots of photos, lots of images from drones, planes, and satellites, and bringing them together to create beautiful and accurate 3D representations. And speaking of 3D GIS, we're working across the platform to improve our 3D data creation and editing, and to have great visualizations in Pro and on the web. We've introduced enhanced 3D tools for modeling, exploratory analysis, and geoprocessing. Features like flood simulation, time-enabled 3D layers, and support for 3D tiles bring significant benefits to your work, and you'll see demos of this later in the afternoon. And of course, many of you are supporting mobile workers in field operations. We've popular applications for data collection and for accessing and editing data in the field. These include field maps, Survey 123, and Quick Capture. And your mobile workers can use these applications while being connected to the enterprise database, so they have the information they need for greater situational awareness. ArcGIS is the system of record for many of your organizations, and we continue to improve the geodatabase with new data types, with enhanced schema management, and more offline and disconnected synchronization capabilities for those mobile workers I was just talking about. Some of the new data integration tools are for simplifying access to other data sources. And we have a great new application in ArcGIS Online called Data Pipelines that allows you to connect to external, non-GIS data sources, then massage or transform that data and bring it right in as a hosted feature layer. We're also excited to introduce the new web editor application. It has many of the same powerful editing tools and workflows you know from ArcGIS Pro, now accessible in a web application available with ArcGIS Enterprise and ArcGIS Online. And we really believe it will significantly simplify GIS data editing workflows for all of the editors in your organization. As you know, ArcGIS is an open platform. It's also interoperable through its extensive platform-wide support for geospatial standards. And our open approach has been a core driver for many open data and open science initiatives. It has also allowed our users to successfully integrate ArcGIS with other systems, like we heard. And we know this open approach works based on the many successful projects our users, you, have completed here and worldwide. Now, with that context in place, I want to talk about some of the specific products that make up ArcGIS. ArcGIS is designed to be an integrated system with ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Enterprise, and ArcGIS Online as the 3 foundational products. So let's start with ArcGIS Pro, one of those foundational products, and the most popular desktop GIS application in the world. It provides tools for professional mapping, imagery, advanced analytics, and data management. In the past year, we've added hundreds of improvements based on your feedback. These include schema reporting and 3D tiles. In the latest release, we've added the capability to add a PDF file directly into a map for use with your workflows, another one of those very popular requests. And many more advancements are coming as we continue to focus on improving performance and productivity with every single release. Pro has extensions for advanced analytics, for production mapping and charting and data management. And the exciting news this year is that many of the most used extensions are now part of the Professional Plus user type. The second foundational product that I want to talk about is ArcGIS Enterprise. It's a self-hosted system that can closely integrate with other IT infrastructure as it's deployed in public cloud, private cloud, and on-premises environments. In the past year, we've done a lot of work to improve enterprise readiness through things like cloud automation. And a big recent addition for ArcGIS Enterprise was the availability of that new web editor app and the metadata editor apps. The enhancements we make to ArcGIS Enterprise and updates benefit GIS professionals as well as IT administrators, DevOps, and developers in your organizations. ArcGIS Enterprise is incredibly versatile and has many extensions available for every type of data and additional advanced workflows you might need beyond the core capabilities. In addition to supporting ArcGIS Enterprise on Windows and Linux, several years ago we introduced ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes. Kubernetes itself continues to be a fast-growing technology platform for building and running cloud-native applications. And this is enabling ArcGIS Enterprise to be deployed in a highly resilient fashion that simplifies administration and allows you to quickly deploy and scale advanced capabilities like mapping, visualization, geocoding, data management, and vector analysis. And among the new and improved capabilities this year was the addition of image processing and raster analytics to ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes. The third foundational product is ArcGIS Online, which is a SaaS, software as a service, GIS hosted by Esri. ArcGIS Online usage keeps growing, and it's being used around the clock by millions of people worldwide, accessing petabytes of data and making billions of requests every single day. ArcGIS Online has powerful mapping, analysis, and data management capabilities, and like ArcGIS Enterprise, it works with ArcGIS Pro along with all the other web and mobile applications. Recent updates to ArcGIS Online include a recycle bin to help you restore and recover items deleted by mistake. And this has been one of those very highly requested features. We've also added a new metadata editor so you can create and maintain standards-based metadata, and the web editor that I've mentioned a couple of times to make data editing easier for everyone in your organization. We've also improved a number of administrative workflows for member management with new and improved bulk actions. ArcGIS Online also has several popular extensions to be aware of to support specific workflows and advanced functionality, like Velocity for real-time, Image, Hub, and Workflow Manager. Just recently, in July, ArcGIS Online received the FedRAMP moderate authorization status in the United States. And this designation reflects Esri's commitment to software security and compliance and lays the foundation for us to continue on with ISO 27K compliance initiatives that we know are important to many of you outside of the United States. as part of both ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise are a collection of web applications that I want to now briefly talk about. Maps are meant to be shared, and many of you are sharing maps using instant apps. And we now have over 20 purpose-driven templates to help you quickly, in a matter of a few minutes, take any web map and turn it into an application. You can now also create multi-language instant apps using the language switcher. Another incredibly popular way that you're sharing maps are through dashboards, because of their ability to provide dynamic visual reporting for monitoring status and visualizing trends. And among the many improvements this year is the support for 3D to provide insightful details and the ability to update feature attributes directly within the dashboard. Also, we've enhanced mobile support so that you can take your dashboard with you on your phone or tablet and get relevant and timely information on the go and at a glance. And yet another incredibly popular way in which you're sharing your work and telling your stories is through ArcGIS story maps. This is all about communicating geographic knowledge through a map, but also integrating other multimedia work. Story maps is a simple builder that you can use to easily create beautiful content that put maps at the center of your story. This year, we've introduced briefings to story maps, so you can use it to create presentations to executives or any stakeholders. Think of it as PowerPoint, but you create slides with maps and other content and media. And briefings works in disconnected environments, so you can also be offline and still do that briefing. You can build your own solution or app with the low-code, no-code development environment of Experience Builder. This is the next generation of the very popular web app builder with better mapping capabilities, in addition to being optimized for both the browser and mobile devices for 2D and 3D solutions. We continue to enhance Experience Builder with every release, and we recently added more templates and more widgets. Finally, to round things out, I want to talk and mention some new information we've worked hard to build out. To help you implement ArcGIS systems, we were excited to recently announce a new website with a comprehensive set of resources, the ArcGIS Architecture Center, which was released at the end of last year for IT and GIS professionals who build, design, build, and maintain ArcGIS systems. It includes a new framework, the well-architected framework, along with lots of content ranging from reference architectures to best practices. And I really encourage you to take advantage of this site, which includes those best practices focused on topics like strategy, governance, and skills development. And it's available right now on architecture.arcgis.com. Esri is grounded in this fundamental notion of serving you, our users, and advancing GIS and the science behind it. And at the same time, we're interested in advancing spatial literacy in the world and helping people apply the geographic approach to problem solving. Thank you, and back to you, Scott.
Thank you very much, Philip. So Philip covered an awful lot of technology there, but hopefully most of it is technology which you're familiar with today and you're using in your everyday lives. One of the things which you mentioned at the end was that well-architected framework, the architecture website. I would say it's a really great resource if you're working with technical people in IT who maybe don't speak GIS. This is a great resource to point them to so they can understand the strange world of layers and geodatabases and so on. We want to now look at how this technology is being applied in the real world. Specifically, we've asked our next guest to talk to us about how ArcGIS has been used to improve the way we build our environment through the concepts such as digital engineering, BIM, and also the term digital twin. This afternoon, we're very lucky to have with us Kathleen Kewley, all the way from Vancouver in Canada. Kathleen has over 20 years of experience working with GIS and with the engineering, architecture, and consulting and construction firms, including over 10 years at Autodesk itself. With this unique combination of industry and GIS skills, Kathleen now leads a team at Esri supporting the AEC industry's digital transformation through leveraging GIS. Please join me in welcoming Kathleen.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here in your beautiful city. So I thought I'd just start with a slide here that sort of re-emphasizes what we've been saying, right? Our world is a complex and highly interdependent ecosystem. Our world is shrinking. It's becoming more and more global with everything we do. And it's rapidly changing and evolving. And, we are challenged to manage and keep up with this evolution. And our actions as humans are creating unintended consequences. We, saw that a little bit earlier. We're facing more disasters than ever, severe weather, decline in biodiversity, flooding. In Canada, where I'm from, in 2023, over 15 million hectares of forest burned in that year. It was catastrophic, one of the worst years ever. But that's a trend that's continuing. And just to put that in context, 15 million hectares is 150,000 square kilometers. It's about the size of the South Island of New Zealand. So a lot of land. And it's not all from natural causes. It's also in how we are managing our forests, how we build around our forests. And as our population continues to grow, the impact becomes even greater because there's a need to build more. We need more infrastructure. We need more utilities, more cities. And all of this requires us to use more resources. So just as our world is complex and interdependent, so are the requirements when it comes to building our world. But we have a choice. We have a choice in how we address these issues to create a sustainable future. But it requires a transformation of how we build the world we live in today. We have to develop sustainable and resilient practices for construction. And GIS provides us with a shared understanding and insights on how to address these issues. We need to bring together all of our best information, science, technology, geography, to really think about innovative approaches, which is what all of you do here in this room, right? But the one common theme in the built environment are that projects are inherently geographic, right? So geography brings together complex and interconnected real-world processes and relationships. Geography connects the built, the natural, and our social worlds. And with this comes all types of data and content and models that also have to be connected. So location is critical to our understanding and collaboration. It provides the context, it keeps us connected, and it shows the cause and effect. And I wanted to just highlight this because it's not just Esri that's saying geography is critical, right? Gartner, who's the leading provider of research and advisory for technology, also states that everything an organization does in one way or another is associated with a location. And I think that's pretty powerful. So when we look at some of the challenges that face the construction industry, it's pretty big, right? These are big problems. Massive amounts of materials are wasted, a ton of rework, 90% of projects are late. I'm sure a lot of you in this room have experienced that firsthand. Because this doesn't just impact the construction companies, it impacts all the other organizations that are a part of this ecosystem. Whether that be a transportation agency, the water utilities, the municipality, right? Ultimately, it flows all the way down to the citizens that depend on this infrastructure. And a major trend that we're seeing in the construction industry is the need to maximize resource access, so get access to the water, to the electricity, while minimizing costs, but also doing this with a focus on sustainability. And in this, there's a huge opportunity to make a significant impact by focusing on making changes that can help result in better outcomes. And much of this is coming from business drivers such as digital transformation, digital engineering, maintaining that data integrity, and thinking about innovative approaches. And when we actually start to look at the different phases of the life cycle of a project or an asset, it's complex. Environmental has continued to become more and more critical throughout all the phases of the life cycle as we continue to see the natural and unbuilt worlds come together. And as you can see, there's many different phases through planning, design, construction, and back. It's not a linear process, right? These overlap. You may start in one and end in another and come back, right? But what's so important is that geography and location is a thread throughout this entire process. Geography interconnects and integrates data and systems at all points of a project. GIS is bringing this all together, helping to streamline workflows and deliver those actionable results. And this is transforming how our infrastructure is planned, designed, built, and delivered. Context is crucial for understanding where and what to build. So Foster & Partners is a multidisciplinary design and architecture firm headquartered in London. And they use ArcGIS to visualize and analyze data, which helps them design sustainable and innovative urban environments. One notable project that they were working on is the design of South Sabah Al Hamed, which is in Kuwait. And it was a brand new city for 280,000 new residents with an extensive open space network, multi-layered public transport system. But for Foster & Partners, understanding the geography of cities and the forces that shape them are critical to any project that they start. And also their design process is an iterative process where they're working with multiple architects, engineers, social scientists, and folks from all different types of disciplines. So when we look at the number of stakeholders involved in a project, it's complex and challenging, right? It's challenging to communicate across these groups. Quite often there can be confusion and a lack of understanding. You know, one of the big issues the industry has always faced is the inefficiency and data loss that happens between these different groups, when data is moving back and forth, right? And especially at project handover, when design and as-built information needs to get back into the GIS system. Well, having a digital and data-centric approach based on open industry standards, which Philip talked about, helps to address this interoperability and the flow of design and project information and getting that back into the system. Or with digital engineering, you're not losing that integrity, right? Having that digital thread throughout the entire life cycle. And by using web collaboration, dashboards, or story maps, we can also continue to improve communication collaboration across all project stakeholders. And I go back to the video with Jack, and what did he say, right? He said GIS brings together collaboration and communication, and this is so true, especially for what's happening in the built environment. We continue to make great progress in GIS integrating with CAD and BIM workflows. And a lot of this is being driven from our continued investment in our partnership with Autodesk. We are all in. We will continue to do more together. So it's whether this is just accessing, Revit files directly or open data, IFC files, or maybe enabling engineering and design applications, integrating workflows. So being able to connect directly to the Autodesk Construction Cloud, right? The engineering system of record, and connecting that directly to our enterprise GIS. Right? We're bringing these worlds together to help better support planning, designing, building, and maintenance activities. This is a great example of Auckland Transport and the Central Rail Line, where they're bringing together BIM and GIS data to manage high-fidelity assets. So they're building a pilot of a digital twin to explore, view, and understand the impacts of the development work that they're doing. to support those real world outcomes, right? So this can be used for examples such as being able to monitor construction phases and get into a level of detail in a building or a specific asset in an easy and intuitive way. And being able to see above, below ground. Being able to do things like, slicing inside the building to see what's actually happening on the floors. We continue to make significant advancements in creating GIS products and solutions for the AEC industry. So a modern deployment of GIS improves project workflows and outcomes. Whether that be seamlessly bringing reality capture and mapping data together from the field, being able to plan and design in context by connecting all the different types of data that we've been talking about, or for project management and delivery, right? So where we talk about creating a connected data environment, where we're connecting to other project systems, right? Digital project delivery. Or seamlessly bringing your GIS and project information into visualization and simulation tools such as Unreal, leveraging VR, AR, right? These are examples of how we can use GIS technology for modern deployments today. And a great example of digital engineering and really maintaining that data integrity and not losing the value is the design and construction of Brisbane's first subway, Cross River Rail Brisbane. And this is bringing together and connecting all different types of data into a central repository where all the stakeholders can access the information they need, whether that's above ground, beyond ground. They can see how that's interacting with the natural world. And they're using a game engine to transform the twin into a virtual reality model so you can walk through the designs, plan construction, and communicate progress. And this is transformational because these types of projects are very complicated and complex. Historically, everyone, including non-professionals, right, would sit around and review this in a 2D world, right? They'd look at 2D drawings. And that's, that creates a lot of confusion. It's really hard for people to understand what's actually taking place. And ultimately, why is Cross River Rail doing this? Why are they creating this digital underground? Because decisions can be made sooner, saving money and time, right? They now have an understanding of how the stations are going to impact economic development. And one of the great quotes from Cross River is, we went from, it's all about building a railway, to it's all about rebuilding the city. And it really shows how these initiatives can transform and how it's so interconnected, right? So this is just a great example. The last example I have here is San Francisco Airport. So they've implemented a dynamic and predictive digital twin. So this integrates detailed building plans with geographic information to really create a comprehensive virtual model of the airport. And they're doing this to drive real outcomes, right? Improved operations. This helps them to plan their maintenance operations, right? They're using this to find the optimal locations for retail outlets. It also improves communication. We talked about that, right? All of the departments can now work around this model and see this model to help them understand what's happening and streamline their operations. Efficient construction. So this aids them in the planning of new construction projects, reducing costs and time to completion. And finally, also this helps them with compliance. So they can meet FAA regulations by providing precise data for satellite-based approach procedures. This innovative approach has transformed how SFO manages its infrastructure and operation, making it an absolute leader in airport management technology. So ArcGIS provides the context, the collaboration, and the connected data environment so our customers can move towards creating a true digital twin. All of you in this room are contributing to help us solve complex problems. And we all have an opportunity to move towards digital engineering and to embrace digital transformation. With so much data being created, we need to think about these digital and data-centric approaches. And really, in a lot of cases, the first step is we just need to ask for it. This data is being created. It's being created at the beginning of the projects, throughout that entire life cycle that we talked about. So how do we maintain that value and ensure that we get the most out of our investments that we can? GIS and location can bring this data together, so we can work to solve the very complicated problems that we face. So let's see this in action. We're going to see how we can make the connections between the teams and bring together GIS, BIM, and operations. So I'd like to introduce Jess Houston from Eagle Technologies, who's going to walk us through a demonstration.
Thanks, Kathleen. Our BIM integration journey starts in a familiar place to a lot of us, ArcGIS Pro. By first opening up Okay, there we go. So now our journey starts in a familiar place to a lot of us, ArcGIS Pro. By first opening up our Pro project centered on Cable Street in Wellington, if we go to our Insert tab and then Connections, we have the option to create a BIM 360 connection to find all our BIM data and bring it into our software. I already created a BIM connection earlier, and as you can see here, I have 2 IFC models, and if I right-click, I can download and add them to my map. Once the BIM layer has been added, we can then start navigating throughout the data that belongs to this incredible model that we received thanks to Wellington City Council. To make this easier, I'll go to a new tab that's appeared now called BIM Data. Here I have the ability to edit and manipulate this data, and I want to see the inside of the model, floor by floor. So I'll create a new filter, name it, go to my settings, click building level, and choose the floors I care about. Or I can even switch between different floors with different filters. Now that I've managed my BIM data, I'm ready to start sharing it to the wider public. So I'll click on Create a Building Scene Layer and output this layer to a Scene Layer package. Let's take a look at what this layer looks like in ArcGIS Online. So here we have our building scene layer in 3D Scene Viewer. And like ArcGIS Pro, we also can navigate through our floors, this time using the Building Explorer widget, smoothly navigating through those floors. If we were to click on features, we gain additional information from the pop-ups as well. But as we all know, the cornerstone of all GIS work is layers. So we'll start to bring in additional data into the scene, like possible seating arrangement for the very room we're in right now. Or better yet, we'll start to visualize how BIM data can fit into our larger geographic world by adding contextual data outside of Takina. By searching through ArcGIS Online, we can find other 3D building data that's been shared, like Wellington City Council's 3D buildings for our street. And so now we're ready to share the scene to the public, a GIS platform with BIM components brought in. But we're ready to reach that next level of integration where we can access both worlds of GIS and BIM at the same time. Since the changes in user types from the June update of ArcGIS Online, many of you may have access to a new tool you've not used before. ArcGIS GeoBIM is a web-based experience for connecting directly to Autodesk Construction Cloud and access up-to-date project and management information. Here in our app, we can see the exact same web scene, but now with some different tools available. If we go to our Buildings Explorer again and return to a floor like the stream rooms, then click on the floor, we can see the Link Explorer update with all the relevant documents in Autodesk, either engineering documents or, in this case, event documents associated with that feature. Here I can actually see the floor plan for this area that's hosted in my Autodesk account. Or I can click on the Other BIM model here, and I can actually see all the services and assets that need to be maintained in this asset. And finally, now we can use our GIS capabilities, like spatial analysis. By using the Shadowcast tool and changing the time range from sunrise to sunset, change the mode to total duration, and now hovering over the building, we can see the total time that Takina may be in the shadows of other buildings. With just a few features of ArcGIS GeoBIM, we can already see how blending GIS and BIM lead to smarter data management, meaningful visualizations, and better informed decisions inside and out. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Kathleen, thank you much to Jess, and thank you also to Wellington City Council for sharing the digital version of this amazing venue with us to demonstrate today. I guess to reiterate the point that Jess and Kathleen made, many of you will have digital assets in your organizations in the form of BIM or Revit models, which we'd encourage you to look at and see how those can be brought into a geographic context to create the first steps in a digital twin. Now, this doesn't often happen at this event, but we're ahead of time. So we're going to do our best to bank some time. We're going to go to the break early, the afternoon tea early. So, if I could ask you all to join us outside for some afternoon tea refreshments, we're going to restart here at 3 p.m. And the reason you would come back and leave afternoon tea and join us at 3 p.m. is because we have a range of amazing demonstrations to show you. We're going to be showing you time-enabled, more 3D, analytics, and field applications. So please do join us at 3 p.m. back in your seats for part 2 of the plenary. Thank you very much indeed.